All right, man. Chuggernauts, let's get grown up. I'm here with Joel from Oak Cliff Brewing, and he's brought a
It's Bluesy. It's
Bluesy.
a blueberry Berliner Weiss.
Berliner Weiss.
Kettle
Nice.
soured.
Sours. That's awesome. All right.
Yep.
So sours have kind of exploded and taken off almost as well as hazies have. Not quite as much, I don't think, but they
Not yet.
definitely found their way. So Berliner Weiss, though, we're talking old school, been around for a long time. It's not inherently what we're talking about with some of the
No,
new
I
sour
think,
stuff on the block.
Berliner Weisses were brewed in the 16th century, somewhere around there. And Napoleon's army used to call it the Champagne of the North.
Nice.
It's a North German style. But, it's a sour beer. It's they're usually pretty low ABV. This one clocks in around 4.5%.
Okay.
They're usually anywhere from 3 to 4.5. So this is actually a little high on the ABV scale.
Oh, okay.
But they're just extremely drinkable.
All right, so where are we at on APV on this?
It's about 4.5%.
4.5,
So,
okay.
We take our base Berliner Weiss, which
Okay.
is it's a sour beer. We kettle sour it, and then we'll do all kinds of things. We did a pina colada Weiss.
Okay.
This one right here is blueberries. So we use 2 pounds per barrel of blueberries. Just shitload of blueberries in it. Add a little vanilla, a little graham cracker to it. But yeah, it's a good easy drinking beer.
So you said kettle sour. In the brew world, like there's all these different sours. There's
Yeah.
different ways of sour. You can sour post fermentation. You can sour in bright tanks. You can sour in your kegs. You can sour. So kettle sour are you souring before you ever take it to I mean, I know souring is a fermentation type
Yep.
thing. But what exactly makes it a kettle sour?
So kettle sour is that we get to the low pH
Okay.
before we ferment.
Okay.
So I think if you read up on traditional Berliner Weisses, they would sour them in the bottle.
Okay.
So
Okay.
reading up on it, this is back in the 16th century, they would bury bottles
Okay.
in the sand
Okay.
to keep them warm, and you get a mixed fermentation of the brewer's yeast and lactobacillus,
Right.
which is what gives it the sour note. Kettle souring, we grow our own lactobacillus
Okay.
culture.
Okay.
We'll basically take some wheat malt, add some wort to that, and
Nice.
set it on top of a boiler because we need it to be around 115 degrees.
Okay.
Our boiler just happens to be around that
Nice.
temperature. We'll set it there, let it ferment for a couple of days, and then we'll take that as a starter and we'll pour that into wort.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So
Okay.
kettle souring, the idea is that you extract all the sweet wort from the grain.
Right.
It's in the kettle,
Right.
and then we pitch our lactobacillus culture.
Okay.
We let that set overnight. That brings it down to like 4 pH, which
Okay.
gives that sourness. And then we'll boil it just to kill all the lactobacillus, and then we'll throw it in the fermenter. And from that point, it's just like normal beer.
So so the bacteria you're putting in the lacto, the bacteria goes in and kind of changes that pH and gets us that acidic thing in there
Yep.
you want.
Yep.
And then do you add yeast to it in the fermenter, or does that bacteria continue to ferment the
No,
sugars?
so the thing about kettle soured is,
Okay.
So lactobacillus is a little tricky because you don't want to contaminate your entire brew house with that.
Right.
Because it'll go crazy. So
Sure.
what we do is,
And then everything's sour.
yes.
Right.
And there have been breweries around Texas that have encountered that.
Yeah, I've heard
they
that.
They started as traditional breweries. They started souring, and all of a sudden they're like, well, screw us. Everything's
This
gonna
is
be
what we
sour.
do now? Oh, that's awesome.
So what we do to combat that is we only sour in the kettle.
Okay.
So once we transfer the wort to the kettle, we'll
Okay.
pitch our souring culture. It's a house-grown culture. We grow it off wheat malt.
Okay.
And it's kind of cool. You just take wheat malt and you're looking at it as like, there's little bugs on there
Right.
that are going to cause lactic acid.
Okay.
So we'll take that wheat malt and, we have a certain formula for how much wheat malt to add to a certain amount of wort and
Sure.
what temperature to keep it
Okay.
and how long. But we do all that and we come up with these sour cultures.
Okay.
And then we'll pour that in the kettle. We'll let that sit overnight. And that sour culture basically eats some of those sugars and creates a lot of lactic acid.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's the lactic acid that creates the sourness.
That's giving the acidity to
Yes.
that beer that you okay.
So that's,
okay.
that gives us
Okay.
acidity. Once we get to the pH that we're looking for, we fire up the burners and we
Okay.
just kill everything.
Oh wow. Okay.
So you kill all the lactobacillus.
Okay.
You kill everything that's causing pH, and all you're left with is lactic acid.
okay.
And then we'll take that, and from that point, it's a normal beer.
So at that point, it's still a wort though. There's still remaining residual sugars
There's
in there.
a lot of residual sugars.
Okay.
It's actually quite amazing how much lactobacillus. It's a little amount of sugar to create a lot of lactic acid.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. Cool.
And you talked about Milk the Funk.
yeah.
And yeah, Milk the Funk's a great little group that teaches you how to sour.
yeah.
I did a grapefruit goza
yeah.
at home, all based on Milk the Funk.
Yeah.
On how to quick sour.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's a lot of ways to do long sours. You do mixed fermentation. There's breweries that are doing amazing mixed fermentations where you pitch the yeast, you get just natural fermentation, natural mixed cultures, and these beers take 3 to 6 months to
yeah.
develop.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
This is not a 3 to 6 month beer.
Okay,
This
okay.
is one that overnight you pitch that culture, and all of a sudden you're at 3.5 pH.
Okay.
You got the sourness.
okay. Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll boil it,
Right.
and that's just to kill everything.
To kill all the
It's to
bacteria.
kill all the bugs.
Okay.
What you still get is the lactic acids. Then from there, it's just a normal beer. We transfer it to the fermenter. We pitch yeast. In the case of Ruby's Last Shot, which are our grapefruit goza, we'll dry hop it and everything.
Okay, okay.
From that standpoint, it's normal beer. We don't dry hop the Berliner Weiss.
Okay.
What we did on this one is we pitched 2 pounds per gallon of blueberry.
Yeah, man. Blueberry just overwhelms this beer in a good way. I don't mean in a bad way at all.
Yeah.
Like, and you know what the really great part is? Like, it's funny because I think a lot of people think of blueberries and these berries, fruits, as being just super sweet, and they are. But all berries kind of have a little tartness to it on the
Oh, for
skins,
sure.
which
Yeah.
is why the grapes and wine and all that good stuff. Which, by the way, blueberries make amazing wine if you ever want to fuck around with that.
Okay.
Like, yeah, my wife's a winemaker, and the blueberry wines are. Why there's not blueberry wines on the shelf next to a Cabernet, I have no idea. They're amazing. They're actually really good. But anyway, what I found in this is this really cool thing. So I would assume, here's a cool thing I get. So sours are very sort of, it took me a minute to come around sours. I'm not gonna lie. The first few I was like, what in the fuck are you doing? Because I've got in my head this beer idea, right? This very sort of malty, hoppy, and yeasty thing. And then all of a sudden, whack, you got this acidity going on. And some of them get very almost to pickle juice, which I'm not a big fan of, but that's just me. But this thing, and coming back in with the blueberries, it's kind of interesting. My first question to you to ask is, do people that come into your brewery and try this, how does this go over, and have you even paid attention to it, on someone who comes in that's not inherently a beer drinker? Maybe they are a wine drinker, because I could very much see a wine drinker going, yeah, I'm completely down, because it doesn't completely, like, it doesn't have the body of a big Cabernet or a big Merlot, but it definitely has a little bit of that, definitely has the acidity.
Yep.
It has a little bit of the sweetness from the blueberry,
It's got some
and
tannins
it's
to
got
it.
a little bit of the tannin to
Yeah.
it. That's what I was kind of
Right,
coming
right.
around to. Like, it's a super interesting way to sort of introduce maybe like a big wine drinker into
Yep.
a craft beer thing. Like,
So we
Very
get that all the
interesting.
time in the tap room. People come in, and it's like, I don't know why they're coming to a brewery, but they're like, I don't like beer. What do you have?
yeah, we're a brewery.
We make beer. I mean, come on.
I mean, can I serve you a Chiltawaka? Yeah, I got you. Yeah, stupid.
So the first thing we'll do is if we got we do a farmhouse ale,
Right, okay.
that we age on fresh fruit. So we'll do a berry house, which
Okay.
is it's a blend of blueberry, blackberry, and raspberry.
Oh wow, nice.
But the our farmhouse, it's a saison blend. It dries up really well.
Okay,
So it's you don't get a lot of the malt character.
Right.
There's no hop character to it.
sure.
So it's someone's I don't like beer. What should we try? So we'll give them a berry house or a mango house, or we'll give them a bougie,
Okay,
which is
Yeah,
okay. If you like wine, if you like cider, then you're probably used to a little bit of tannic acid.
Yeah, for sure.
You like some fruits. So something like the bougie usually works pretty well for them.
yeah, I can totally get that.
Yeah.
Were you guys, when you told me you brought well, actually, first you said a sour, and I was like, cool, we haven't done a sour on the show at all, and we certainly haven't done it in our deep dive here on our bonus beer. And you said it was a Blender Weiss, and I thought that was super interesting, because I know that people think of sours as being this new craft thing, but actually sours have been around forever. And I know earlier you said 16th century Blender Weiss, and it's a big thing. Are the traditional... So Berliner Weiss is sort of the traditional sour, right? I mean, that is kind of the old school sour beer, isn't it? From my understanding? Okay. And those, I think I've seen some with like raspberries and different things, but are they typically fruited, or do typically the kind of original like European styles, are they sort of, which I guess probably German, right?
Yeah, it's German, Northern German.
Do they fruit them fairly frequently, or is there
that's a common thing. I mean, because it's...
it works well, so it makes sense.
Right. Yes, because a lot of fruits have a sour aspect to them.
Absolutely, yes.
So, yeah, I think it's been a common thing historically to take a Berliner Weiss, something that's light, a little crisp, a little tart, and then add different fruits to them.
Right,
so
right.
It's a good match.
This is interesting because it works very well. Like I had a conversation with a girl the other day who I think we're going to show sometime, who she's got this thing where she's just kind of taken it upon herself to be like, proselytizing to women that like beer isn't what beer used to be. Like, don't be afraid of it. Go drink it. I had this thought after I had a conversation with her, and I started thinking, like, there's a lot of beer now that if it didn't have the beer connotation, would be very easily introduced to cocktail and wine drinkers.
Right.
And I think this is one of those. Like, it is a beer because, through the basic ingredients and the design of what makes a beer, it's a beer. But I mean, this you could call this anything you wanted to that didn't say beer in it, and no one would argue it.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yep. No,
and I don't mean that in a degrading way to a brewer, but it really does. Like, it drinks so much more like it actually drinks more like a wine than a beer. And the acidity on it, I think it's very cool that you brought the acidity to this as something that's in the realm of a wine as opposed to a vinegar or a pickle juice. And that happens all too often, and that's coming off of my preference.
There are
to say
breweries
that.
in DFW that have done a pickle juice sour.
Right.
And it's getting rave reviews.
Yeah,
because it's a good mix.
I've had it, yeah.
I haven't had it.
I have. I'll say this. Okay, so let's just do a quick review of a beer we won't say the name of, but everyone who knows it will know it. The reality of what they did with that, okay, God damn it, I wish I could make another one. There was another sour beer out that was a national brand. I can't remember the name of it. I had it at a local beer bar. That was, you drank it and it tasted like pickle juice, right? They even called it like pickle sour or pucker or some shit like that. I didn't like it because I like pickle juice, but I'm also of the fan of like, if I'm gonna drink an adult beverage, I want to know I'm drinking it. Like, I don't want to drink something that tastes like Kool-Aid. Like, let me feel the burn, because I, you know what I mean. So you lose me in that. But in sours, the ones that go straight pickle juice, I'm like, well, fuck, if I want pickle juice, I'll just drink pickle juice. But this one that you're talking about, since you haven't had it, I'll just tell you, you're probably not gonna drink a 12-pack of it.
Sure.
But for one, what they did was they blended the pickle juice in with it, from my understanding. And the cool part was there's a lot of salt in pickle juice. So that salt kind of came back in. So it almost took it more to a Goza style than it necessarily did a sour. So it's got the saltiness offsets the vinegar.
I gotta go try it out.
Does that make sense?
By the way, those guys make fucking amazing.
They're fucking great.
Sours.
I'll say it. It's Martin House, and Martin House is fucking awesome, and they teamed up with Best Made.
Yes.
And they're cool, and we had Martin House on a small segment we did. They haven't on the show yet.
Yeah, I gotta go try
Just
your
say
beer.
what it is. I'm saying it's good. I don't know if I want a 12-pack. I don't know if they expect anybody to buy a 12-pack. Sure. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody, you brew beers that you don't expect people to have one. That's the fun of it. Something about using actual pickle juice as opposed to just souring it to the pH of vinegar worked, because the salt carries it, and so you get this kind of this sour pH with the saltiness, and I think that the name should be somewhere in a Goza, to be honest with you.
So this is the cool thing is like,
it's briny.
How can you brew a beer that tastes like something without adding that something?
Yeah.
It's like our Hefeweizen has a banana character. There hasn't been a banana within a mile of our brewery.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you get, it's like another one's vanilla.
Yeah, for sure.
Villian, which is
I don't know if it's an ester or I don't know what it is, but that's magic to me.
Right,
It's
right.
like, how can you brew a beer that tastes
Yeah.
something, tastes like something
Yeah.
that has been nowhere near that beer?
Sure.
We have a shitload of blueberries in this, so we haven't accomplished that.
We just went with
But
it.
that's what's so much fun about beer.
It is
It's like
fun.
there-
It is.
there's so many things that esters, there's things like yeast and malt, and even your water profile, and the hops can bring out that just they taste like things that you've had before.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you're tasting that, and it's like this reminds me.
Yeah,
of
for
something.
sure.
It's like that ingredient is nowhere near this beer.
Yeah.
But that's what you get out of it.
It's the Noah White experience of beer. I mean, it's very much that culinary line with
Yeah.
science that makes it
Yeah.
all happen. It's good. Hey, man.
But sours are fun because you can take just our base bunner and we'll make a blueberry sour.
That's cool.
We'll make a pina colada ice.
Yeah.
And it's just a shit ton of toasted coconut and Dole pineapple juice.
It makes
It's like, and that's something that sours bring that I think you don't get anywhere else.
it makes sense to do it, and it makes sense to do it where it's not on top of just a giant malt bill where you just
Right.
have a bunch of sweetness.
Yeah.
You know, where it ends up tasting like a pineapple tea or something.
Yep.
You know, it's very cool. Well, man, cheers! Thanks for doing the show. Thanks for bringing this beer,
Yep.
guys. Don't be afraid of sours. Go check them out. See what's out there to offer, and
Get it.
y'all have fun. Chug it, man.
Hey guys, I just wanted to jump in real fast.
Oh shit! It's John Pettigo.
Say,
We have a celebrity guest.
first I wanted to try this because
Yes.
y'all are talking about it. So you went for the chug.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's quite well, right?
You like
yeah.
blueberries?
Oh, shit's a
I
lot
mean-
better than y'all were like.
Yeah.
You were like crying over here. I saw it.
You know,
Like literal tears.
I'm gonna get Brian to throw some T-bones on here in a minute. And
I just want to have there's like one thing you said, chugger nuts.
Chugger, I don't know where that came from.
No,
It was an accident once.
I think it should be chugger nuts.
Chugger nuts.
Just not nuts. Like you're a nut. Like I'm a nut.
I like
love
it. From here on out, it's chugger nuts.
I am a chugger nut.
Awesome. John Pettigill, Joel Denton from Oak Cliff Brewing. Hey man, thanks for taking a
Great.
deep dive. Y'all check it out. Subscribe. Hit the
Taking this with
bells.
me.
All that kind of stuff. See ya.
Great.
Dude, that's fucking delicious. That's really good.
That shit is
It's very good.
so good.